have some incredible news to share with you. We have seals. So many studies have been done about how just looking at images of nature can calm us down.
There's ducklings in the sea.
What I'm thinking right now as I'm watching them is just how grateful I am to be human. Before I share this week's adventure with you, I've got some very exciting news. The ebook Connecting with the Coast is now available to purchase and download from my website. You could say this ebook has been 16 years in the making. It takes you on a journey right across the coastline to every landscape and environment that you can imagine. It's filled with stories, over 100 mindful and photographic exercises, as well as photographs on every page to inspire you on your journey. So yeah, you can find a link up here and in the description box if you'd like to purchase your copy. And in this video, I'm going to take you on a journey to the beautiful coastline as I gather some last final images to add to this ebook so that I could complete it earlier this week. May you enjoy. Good morning everybody and welcome to the coast. Today I am out. I've got about 4 or 5 locations I want to visit to create some of the final images that I'd like to showcase in the ebook that I'm currently creating called Connecting with the Coast. The vast majority of images in it are photographs that I photographed during the last 16 years of my photographic journey, but there's a couple of images that I either can't find, that I've lost, or things that I'm talking about that I've witnessed so many times, but I haven't actually taken the time to photograph them. So my plan today is to go to a couple of locations to create those final images for the ebook. And I thought it would be lovely to take you along on this journey with me so you guys can be part of the creation and just to show you some more beautiful parts of this region in Scotland. And I'm beginning today in a seaside village called Fenechty. One of the chapters in the books is coastal villages, and while I've visited many coastal villages throughout my life, there are still some kind of genres or subjects of photographs that I've never actually photographed. So today, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So let's head down there and see what I can find to photograph today. Actually, before I even head down, there's a beautiful view here with some of the houses against this pier and rocky shore. Exactly what I'm looking for. What I'm trying to do in this image here is to create this sense of layering. So often when you're in a traditional seaside village, you'll have the sea level, which in this case we've got the harbour marina full of yachts, and then you'll often have this underneath a hill. I mean, every single coastal village is different, but a lot of them seem to either have a hill around them or be built up like the coast, so up a hill. And here is a really good example of that. We've got the marina with the yachts, and then you've got about 2 or 3 layers of houses going up the hill. So it's just about bringing in that layering effect and yeah, showcasing that in an image.
This camera doesn't zoom in far, but look, there's ducklings in the sea. So cute. So cute.
I sometimes struggle a little bit when I come to places like this initially to do photography because I'm always just so conscious that there's houses around, and although there's nobody else out and about right now, it's I don't know, I'm always like, oh, this is just, it's an interesting environment to be in, shall we say. But I notice that once I begin, once I find something that interests me, like those ducks in the sea, I was just admiring them a little bit closer, because I initially thought that they were mallards, and I thought, well, it's in the sea, so they can't be. And I was looking a little bit closer at them, and they're actually really big ducks. So they're possibly eider ducks, actually, although they're not the right colour. They're both brown. If any of you know much about sea ducks, ones that are brown with very large beaks, please let me know. I mean, I maybe even look it up for this video and put it here. But I just wanted to share this really because I think this is one of the incredible things about nature photography, and I think something I will in time maybe speak more explicitly about is how being out and about in places like this can really help us to tune out of all the noise. And what I mean by that is, as I've just said, sometimes when I come on locations like this, I can feel a bit uncomfortable because of the fact that there are people living and people around. But once I get locked on to something and I find something that interests me, I just get so drawn into that world and it begins to excite me. I begin to forget about everything else around me. And I think maybe from a mental health perspective, it allows you to switch off and really feel that sense of joy and awe for the beautiful world that we live in. And this is one of the reasons why I'm making this ebook. You know, my photography journey began at the coast. I was brought up in a seaside village, and while seaside villages have quite a difficult aspect to living in them when you're a child, I would say, you know, you're kind of cut off a little bit. It's a bit of a different place to be brought up, and also often small seaside villages can be quite cliquey and very insular, you know, in like opinions and ways of being and stuff like that. So if you get somebody in these villages that are maybe a little bit different, you can just feel a bit like an outcast. But on the flip side of that, living in a coastal village growing up, I was surrounded by so much coastal beauty. I mean, this wasn't the village that I grew up in, but you know, you're greeted with scenes like this every single day. And it was actually these beautiful scenes, the beach, the sea, the sky, the harbour, the pier, the rocks and all that, that began to really help me when I was growing up. It allowed me to tune out of all the noise and really focus on something beautiful that surrounded me. And this year marks 16 years since I started photography, and I began when I was 16, so it means I've done photography for half of my life, which is quite a milestone in many ways. And this coastal, Connecting with the Coast ebook that I'm making, I'm so excited by the prospect of sharing it, because there's two reasons why I'm doing this. The first is because the coast is an incredibly beautiful place, and for those of you who live near the sea or who can visit it, it's an opportunity to be inspired to go out and personally connect and experience these wondrous places for yourself. And for those of you who maybe don't live by the sea or can't get there, whether it's because of the country you live in, logistically, other commitments, or maybe even your health prevents you from getting out and about, it's an opportunity to be inspired and to connect with the coast through your imagination, through the stories that I tell and the images I share. Because while I'm really passionate about trying to encourage people to get out into nature and experience these beautiful places for themselves, I've also experienced so many times how incredible it can be to be at home and just look at a photograph or watch a video or listen to some soothing music of the sea or the birds in the woods or whatever it may be, or read a story of somebody's life or depiction of a natural environment, and through your imagination you can be transported there, and it can have so many benefits. You know, there's so many studies been done about how just looking at images of nature can calm us down. So this is why I want to make this book, because the coast genuinely shaped my life, and in many ways it changed, and we could even argue that it saved my life. So I wanted to make this book to share all the beautiful things that this coast can offer to us in terms of connection, in terms of experience, things that can enable us to ponder and think about, but also all the incredible photographic opportunities that these places can present to us, because they're wild, they're rugged, they've got the harshness to them, but they've also got that peace and tranquility. So yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying making this. It's taking me down memory lane, inviting me to revisit many places through the images and through the stories and everything that I can remember from these places. Look back at all these images that I've had for years and begin to share them once more in a different format, but also to get out and to spend some more time in these places and create some images that I maybe don't have in the book as well. It's wonderful. So I've got a couple of images here of the houses, whether I use it in the book or not, we'll have to wait and see. But next I'm off to a little spot not far from here where there's likely to be seals. This is the chapter that I'm struggling the most with, is the marine mammals chapter, because it's not somewhere that you can go and just know that marine mammals are going to be there. I've tried for a few weeks, but this spot is quite reliable for seals, so fingers crossed they're there when I get there. I have some incredible news to share with you. We have seals. They're nearly always here, so but I've not been here for years. So it's such a blessing and relief, I guess, to see them. One thing is I do have some seal images already that's in this ebook. I was really hoping to be able to, oh my gosh, there's loads of them. I was really hoping to be able to get some of the bottlenose dolphins in the book, because, well, A, it would add a bit of variety, but B, they're such majestic, special creatures. But if I can create some more images with these beautiful seals, then at least it'll hopefully showcase what I'd like to share with you. So I'm delighted to say that there's an array of them here, and I'm super excited to see what sort of images I can create with these beautiful beings. These guys are so cute. So cute. Oh my gosh. It's great here because they're really used to people. I was like full-on commando mode, kind of sneaking along the rocks. And then these two women just came down to the beach and they're speaking really loud and they're walking past them and they're not even flinching. They're right beside a road and a pathway, so I guess they're really used to people, which is quite nice. So I've just got a little bit closer. I'm not going to go any closer because I'm really conscious about not disturbing wildlife. It's really important. And I know in Scotland they've had many issues over the years of people getting too close to wildlife, more specifically dogs and drones. But, you know, we all have to be conscious of these things. So even with these guys being used to people, I still don't want to spook them or go into their space. So it's always worth being mindful of these things. But this is wonderful. I think I've only photographed these guys once, many years ago. No idea where the images are. There's actually loads of photographs that I photographed probably from the period of about 5 years ago to 10 years ago. It's about a 5-year period where a lot of my images, I don't know where they are. I've never been the best, to be honest, at storing images in findable places. Maybe it's something that I'll get better at in the future, but it's really nice to be out here today and doing this anyway. It's such a beautiful thing to connect with. They're such beautiful creatures. And the added bonus is I get to sit on rocks like this. Look how beautiful that is. Gosh, so amazing. Oh. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to do this with regards to these images because, well, I have my 100 to 400 millimeter lens, which gives me a decent reach. I've got a full frame camera, so I've also switched it to the crop sensor mode. I know some of you over the years have said that's not always the best thing to do. I think, does it make your file smaller or something? But I'm not really I'm not going to say I'm not interested in the technical side of photography, but to me it's more about the experience and actually being able to photograph these beautiful moments. So having a smaller file size doesn't really bother me personally. Personal opinion, of course. But yeah, I may even crop them further in post-processing just so I can really hone in on the beautiful moments, because sometimes they'll stick their head up and they'll have their mouth open and they'll be doing interesting things, and sometimes they just look at me with this beautiful, beautiful, cute face. So yeah, being able to actually zoom into that and crop it in post-processing is, yeah, well worth doing. Personally, I think it is anyway. So that's probably what I'm going to do, because even though I'm not too far away from them, and even with it on crop sensor mode, I'm still not really close enough to fully benefit. Maybe one day I will own a 600mm lens. Nikon, if you're watching. Oh my gosh, my hair again. I got it cut last week and it's just not, the top of it is a bit crazy. I've got to say, I'm really glad I'm not a seal. It just seems so awkward, you know, when they're on the rock or if they're on a beach and they're trying to move. I mean, in water, they're the most agile, incredibly beautiful creatures. And then on land, they just look so awkward, so clumsy. It also looks so painful, and the amount of energy it must take for them to move over the rocks. It's quite something. I think what I'm thinking right now as I'm watching them is just how grateful I am to be human. You know, we get this incredible ability with our body. Like, we can do so much with our bodies. You know, we can move them in so many different ways. And of course, I appreciate that some people have physical ailments that prevents them from doing things. And yeah, my heart goes out to those who do. I'm just thinking more generally, you know, this opportunity that we have to stretch, to move, to jump, to skip, to dance, to run, to walk, to do all sorts of incredible things. Oh, and swim, of course, we can swim. Then when you look at these guys, it's quite interesting. I think this is one of the beautiful things about connecting with nature, and it's actually something that I weave throughout the whole ebook. It's about inviting you to get curious when you're on a location or when you're photographing certain subject matters about what it evokes within you. What does it remind you of? How do you feel? I think especially when you're photographing wildlife, you know, it's like with birds, it's like when you see birds soaring through the air, do you feel this sense of freedom, this sense of expansion? You know I certainly do, and I know many people have echoed that in poems and stories and things, but it's really allowing you to ponder these things. So right now when I'm sitting here watching these seals, it's like I'm just beginning to feel this complete gratitude for having this body that I have as a human being. But that's one of the beautiful things I think about connecting with nature, is that we'll all see and interpret things slightly differently based on our interests, our life experiences, all these kind of things. But I do think nature connects us with these things. You know, nature can inspire us, it can ground us, it can make us feel this sense of strength, but it can also make us feel incredibly small. It can be very humbling at times, very powerful, and also incredibly calming and soothing. And each place you go along the coastline and anywhere else in nature will have its own story to tell, its own feeling, something else it can gift us and that we can also gift it in connecting with it and photographing it. So I think that'll be the end of this week's video. It's been such a blessing today to have the space and time to go out and be able to spend time on the coast, gathering some of these images to complete this creation that I've been working on. Maybe by the time this goes out, it'll even be ready to share with you. I think it will be ready in the next week or two. I'm looking forward to sharing it with the world and taking you guys on an incredible journey through the coast. I think I need to invest in something that can tie my hair down. I'm not a big fan of wax and gel and things, but maybe that's what I need. Anyway, I hope you've gained some inspiration from this video. It's given you something to think about, something to ponder, and maybe it's inspired you to get out to the coast this week and enjoy beautiful places like this for yourself. As always, thank you so much for watching and wishing you a very blessed and creative week. So there we have it. That was my final outing out at the coast, gathering the last remaining images that I needed to complete the ebook. I hope you enjoyed the adventure, and if you are interested in purchasing and downloading your copy, you can find a link in the description box. The coast is just such an incredibly fun and rewarding place to connect with. And I've written this book in such a way to bring you on that journey so you can connect with these incredible places for yourself. Thank you so much if you do purchase a copy. May it bring you much inspiration and ideas for your own photographic adventures, whether you can physically get out and enjoy these places for yourself, or if you can't, I hope it transports you in your imagination to them, because the coastline is such a healing and therapeutic place to be. Oh, I love it.